Prince Harry's ongoing descent into total madness has continued overnight because he is now accusing Buckingham Palace, wait for it, of sabotage, of wanting to kill him, simply because they made clear he has been offered totally safe accommodation in the totally safe Buckingham Palace.
If the guy is out of control, the Duke of Sussex is losing it.
Behind the high-security walls of their Montecito estate, an explosive shouting match has just revealed the ultimate internal collapse. Prince Harry's legal apparatus launched a scorched earth offensive against the British Home Office, claiming that denying his family automatic state protection is a deliberate attempt to leave them utterly defenseless. But his wife, Meghan Markle, didn't see this as a masterful PR play. She saw the immediate truth. It was a corporate execution. While Harry waged an emotional war against historical ghosts, the palace deployed an invisible weapon he never calculated for: absolute, weaponized silence. No public rebuttals. No leaked retaliations. A total, systematic royal blackout. By pushing an extreme narrative of institutional betrayal to force his father's hand at the 11th hour, Harry didn't win public sympathy. He terrified his remaining Hollywood backers, permanently alienated King Charles, and handed a flawless victory to Prince William and Catherine. The lines are cut. The access is gone. The royal connection, their only true global currency, has officially run completely dry. In this documentary investigation, we dismantle the exact operational blueprint used by the British Crown to quietly contain and break the Sussex campaign without uttering a single public word. You will see the confidential legal mechanics behind the July 2026 security crisis, the exact moment corporate power players realized the brand was toxic, and the historical blueprint from 1995 that predicted this exact disaster. The question we must answer today is absolute. When a rogue prince tells the world his own family wants them ruined, what happens when the kingdom simply stops listening? The explosive tension inside the California mansion didn't happen in a vacuum. It was triggered by the sudden, messy collapse of a highly anticipated summer trip to the United Kingdom.
With the UK authorities refusing to grant the entitled prince armed royal protection for his attention-grabbing return to the UK with Meghan, Archie and Lily, an increasingly irrational Prince Harry is now thinking of bringing the family for just 24 hours.
The Sussex camp had meticulously arranged to attend the official countdown events for the 2027 Invictus Games in Birmingham. It was designed to be their grand re-entry, a high-visibility family return featuring Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, aimed at showing global networks that their royal capital was still active. But the entire operational architecture collapsed over a single, unyielding barrier: the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, known as RAVEC. According to official Home Office filings from this summer of 2026, protective security arrangements for the Duke of Sussex are determined strictly on a bespoke, case-by-case basis. The Independent Risk Management Board maintains a rigorous framework that cannot be compromised by private itinerary demands. When RAVEC refused to grant automatic armed metropolitan police bodyguards outside the secure perimeter of royal residences, Harry was described by close associates as completely distraught. He claimed he would not subject his young children to a media gauntlet without state-backed forces. But inside their estate, Meghan's fury wasn't about safety. It was about the realization that without state-funded protection, they lose the ultimate visual signifier of royalty. Private security guards in civilian clothes don't project imperial power, they project celebrity status. By reducing Harry to a case-by-case applicant, the British government didn't just deny him officers, they stripped him of his institutional identity. The reality is stark. Harry isn't fighting a legal battle for protection, he is fighting a desperate war against his own creeping irrelevance. And by refusing to set foot on British soil without state-funded guards, he played directly into the hands of an institution that was waiting for him to eliminate himself from the board. The panic witnessed in mid-2026 is the predictable outcome of a deep psychological trajectory that has been accelerating for years. To understand why Harry truly believes the palace is actively working to leave him vulnerable, We have to look closely at the extraordinary witness statements his legal team submitted during his prolonged litigation against the British press. In his official legal depositions, Harry stated that the level of risk to his family is unprecedented, and that without state-level integration, private intelligence cannot access the security networks required to prevent a targeted logistical compromise. This is the core of Harry's legal loop. Under UK law, private American bodyguards are legally unauthorized to carry firearms or access classified state threat matrices. In Harry's mind, entering the UK without metropolitan police protection means entering a trap where his family is completely defenseless. But look at the structural reality that emerged when the Court of Appeal dismissed his security challenges. The legal system didn't leave him exposed. They repeatedly offered him safe, fortified accommodations inside Buckingham Palace and other royal estates during his visits. While Harry demands continuous armed state protection across the entire United Kingdom, the state reality offers continuous security only inside fortified royal estates. The stalemate exists because Harry rejects royal estates to avoid palace monitoring. He has weaponized the concept of threat to cover up a much deeper refusal to let go of absolute personal autonomy. But as he drafted his next round of frantic public accusations, he failed to see that the palace had already built an impenetrable wall against his rhetoric. Harry's modern legal campaign cannot be understood without examining the original royal separation of the 1990s. We must go back more than 30 years to look at the exact security war fought by Diana, Princess of Wales, following her formal separation from the Prince of Wales. In the winter of 1993, overwhelmed by media pressure and deeply distrustful of the establishment, Princess Diana made the fateful choice to surrender her round-the-clock Royal Protection Command officers. She mistakenly believed they were monitoring her personal life on behalf of courtiers. She chose to rely entirely on private security or intermittent municipal police. Harry has spent his entire adult life viewing the modern British state through the lens of that single, historical trauma. In his worldview, the institution failed his mother by pulling back her shield, and he believes they are executing the exact same playbook on his own family. The tone here is tragic, frozen in generational grief. But history reveals a devastating counter-truth that Harry's narrative completely avoids. Metropolitan Police records from 1995 confirm that Princess Diana was repeatedly and formally offered full, state-funded police protection by Queen Elizabeth II and the government even after her divorce. It was Diana's own profound anxiety, amplified by rogue outside advisors, that caused her to reject the Crown's permanent protective umbrella. This is the ultimate historical asymmetry. Diana walked away from state protection because she feared the palace. Harry is launching multi-million-dollar lawsuits because he is desperate to force the palace to claim him. He is using his mother's tragic history to justify an aggressive demand for state-funded validation, completely ignoring the fact that the Crown never actually withdrew its protection from her. She turned it down. Harry has trapped himself in a cycle where he is fighting a war against a ghost story. And by using that ghost story to attack the current administration, he triggered an institutional response that finally ended his run for good. While the Montecito estate erupted into frantic strategy sessions over the cancelled July trip, London implemented the most lethal weapon in the modern royal arsenal, complete grey rock containment. The rules of this strategy are simple. Zero emotional engagement, refusal to provide public content, and total delegation to legal infrastructure. For the past 6 years, the Sussex business model depended entirely on a continuous feedback loop with the royal family. A public reaction, a statement of regret, an anonymous briefing from a courtier, all of it was raw material that could be transformed into streaming content or book chapters. The conflict was the asset. But by mid-2026, the palace strategy achieved total insulation. In 2021, it was "Recollections may vary," a soft diplomatic pushback. By 2023, it escalated to the eviction from Frogmore Cottage, a clear logistical containment. By 2024, they faced complete digital deauthoring from royal platforms, representing a structural erasure. And by 2026, the total blackout was complete, featuring an absolute refusal to acknowledge private communications. By stepping completely back and letting independent civil servants at RAVEC handle all security decisions, the royal family removed any opportunity for Harry to frame this as a personal feud with his father. King Charles did not strip his son of security. The British state applied standard legal logic to a private citizen who chose to leave the working monarchy. When Harry tried to break through this by calling personal lines, the phones went completely dead. No arguments. No leaks. No angry retorts. Just a vast, unyielding wall of institutional silence. Prince William and Catherine executed this strategy flawlessly. By completely removing themselves from the narrative, they forced the Sussexes to perform their rebellion in an empty room. Catherine's quiet focus on her family and her long-term public initiatives served as a devastating baseline against the endless legal complaints coming from America. The reality is brutal. The palace blackout didn't just protect the crown, it completely starved the Sussex brand of its primary fuel. You cannot maintain a global identity as an alternative royal court when the actual kingdom refuses to even look in your direction. By July 2026, the financial reality of the Exile had reached a critical flashpoint. In the upper echelons of global commerce, there is no label more damaging than toxic. When Harry and Meghan first arrived in California, corporate giants rushed to sign them to historic deals. But those contracts were built on a single commercial premise, that the couple possessed a permanent backstage pass to the British monarchy. The market was buying exclusive proximity to the crown. But a brand built on access cannot survive when that access is visibly and permanently severed. The moment the market realized the Sussexes could no longer deliver fresh royal imagery or institutional connection, the commercial evaluation plummeted. Meghan Markle understood this commercial reality instantly. This was the true catalyst for the massive confrontation inside the mansion. When Harry allowed his legal team to push extreme narratives of state-sponsored vulnerability, he didn't force the Home Office to buckle. Instead, he terrified corporate America. Major streaming platforms, global lifestyle brands, and high-level political figures do not want their business ventures entangled in a dark, intergenerational family crisis involving state intelligence and public accusations of institutional malice. The moment Harry became an unpredictable litigation machine, the corporate ecosystem quietly backed out of the room. Meghan realized that Harry's emotional campaign had accidentally finished the palace's work for them. He had made their brand entirely unusable for the global market. They weren't being actively hunted. They were simply being uninvited. This is the moment where the entire architecture of the Sussex campaign collapses under the weight of its own internal contradictions. The main revelation is fully delivered. Prince Harry's legal and psychological war was never truly about security. It was a desperate attempt to force his family to engage with him. But the aggressive mechanism he chose is the exact thing that guaranteed his permanent exclusion from the circle. When we look back at Princess Diana's separation from the crown in the mid-1990s, we see a figure who understood that absolute isolation from the state was a tactical error. She maintained her direct channels to the Queen, kept her residence at Kensington Palace, and ensured her lines of communication remained open, because she recognized that total separation meant a loss of structural leverage. Harry did the exact opposite. By exposing intimate family conversations in Spare, by launching relentless public court actions, and by allowing his team to claim that his family's government was actively endangering his children, he broke the fundamental code of the institution. The exposure here is not one of malice, but of a profound commercial calculation that completely ran out of track. The strategy of using institutional conflict to fund a private luxury lifestyle has been laid bare, and the consequence is absolute. Prince William and Catherine stand fully vindicated. Their strategy of total, dignified silence, once dismissed by media critics as passive, has proven to be an exceptional masterclass in institutional preservation. By refusing to enter the ring, they left the Sussex campaign to exhaust itself fighting an empty echo chamber. The structural reality is simple. The British monarchy calculates its survival not in media cycles, but in centuries. It does not win public arguments. It simply outlasts them. This is far larger than a standard family rift. What we are witnessing is the permanent structural realignment of the modern British royal family. The monarchy has proved it can cleanly excise a son of the sovereign without suffering a single scratch to its systemic stability. They have turned a prince of the blood into a permanent legal applicant, waiting outside a gate that is never going to open. Which leaves one lingering, haunting question written across every empty courtroom desk and every unreturned phone call. If this entire security war was truly about keeping his family safe, why did Harry choose the one strategy that guaranteed they would lose the protection of the crown forever? The final reframe of this entire saga requires us to look past the frantic legal filings and the high-velocity headlines. What we see in the summer of 2026 is not a family that has successfully won its independence. What we see is the absolute isolation of Montecito. The grand experiment of creating a progressive, alternative royal court in exile has ended with the quiet click of an institutional lock. By treating the crown as an adversary to be defeated rather than a heritage to be preserved, the Sussexes did something that cannot be reversed. They turned themselves into history before their time. The tragedy of modern exile is realizing that the institution did not lock you out. You spent years building the very walls that keep you in. They are left inside their fortified estate, surrounded by the finest private security money can buy, yet completely cut off from the only fortress that ever truly mattered.